Alright guys, so today we're going to be looking at an updated build guide for Ajax. Now most people when they think of Ajax think about him purely as a defensive tank, but he does have some very strong offensive capabilities if you build him out and play him correctly. So for this build we're going to be focusing on his number 2 and his number 3 skill and dishing out just an insane amount of damage to mobs on the Axion Plains. Having said all that guys, let's go ahead and hop into the video. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to be looking at on Jax is his weapons, as we always do. Now for his main weapon, we're going to go ahead and put on the Secret Garden, and we are going to ensure that this has 3 sprint speed cores. Outside of that, it really doesn't matter what you do with this weapon because you will not be firing it or using it for any real DPS. We have another weapon for that. Now we do really like this weapon because it synergizes with his tech skills and gives him even more skill damage. So just ensure you have this weapon leveled up to 4 stars and you have 3 sprint speed cores on it. Outside of that, you don't have to worry about anything else on this weapon too much. Now for Ajax's second weapon, we are going to go ahead and toss on a Last Dagger. This is a great weapon for doing an insane amount of damage in a very short window, and that's what you're going to want to do to the bosses at the end of the matches. For the cores on this, we do have it rolled out for something like Void Erosion 10, but it does work excellent out on the plains. So go ahead and slap on 1 chill attack core, 2 firearm cores, 1 fire rate core, and 1 rounds per mag core. When it comes to the roll down bottom, go ahead and work on that critical hit rate and damage, as well as the firearm attack, and then we follow this up with a little bit of weak point damage. So for the roll on this, we do have a very general roll. We have a lot of firearm attack, we have a lot of critical hit rate and damage, we do have a lot of weak point damage, and then we end up finishing it off with some chill attack and firing Fiesta for long burst windows. With this gun, just ensure you're trying to hit those weak point shots or else you're going to be losing a ton of damage. So for the reactor on this, we're going to go ahead and use a non-attribute tech reactor. For the optimized conditions, make sure you at least have tac rifle on here. Now in an ideal world, you'll have both tac rifle and handgun, but you don't have to if it's not something that you have available. When it comes to the roll down bottom, I actually have skill cooldown and non-at skill power boost ratio. This is actually a very good roll for this. We really want to prioritize skill cooldown so we can spam our skills as much as possible. The only thing that you realistically might want to change here is to swap that non-at skill power boost out for something like tech skill power boost, which is going to give you just a little bit more damage overall. Now for this build, we do like the Enlightened Mage set. This works really well with most of our non-at descendants, and it works even better with Ajax because we're going to be spamming his skills non-stop. This is going to make it very easy to get the 3 stacks we need and keep it up as long as we can. When it comes to the rolls and the cores on this, definitely get what you see on the screen. Having all the additional MP and MP recovery will make it to where you can spam your skills even more. And having the additional defense as well as HP on the cores is going to make Ajax feel a little bit better out on the plains. In this build, I prioritize damage over survivability, but Ajax already has a lot of survivability, so it isn't a huge deal. But if you are missing all of the survivability on the components, Ajax will feel a little bit squishy out on the plains. So when it comes to the inversion reinforcement, we're really going to build into Ajax being able to spam these skills as much as possible. And in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and use focus boost. This is going to give us a little bit of skill cost reduction, which is going to make it much easier for him to keep spamming his skills non-stop. Outside of that, we are going to use selective neurostimulation as well, and this is just going to make things a little bit better for him when it comes to keeping MP uptime and having enough MP to do what he needs to do. Between the kills and everything else, you should be okay, but this is going to give you just a little bit of additional MP just to make sure that you're not running out and you don't have to stop putting DPS out. The last thing we're going to put on here is going to be chill focus rounds, and this is going to help your Last Dagger when it comes to finally shooting the bosses at the end of the match. So for Arche tuning, we actually went with a very basic tree for Jax, and this is what I like. We really want to get that additional cooldown because again, this is all about spamming his skills. After we decided we needed to go up to that cooldown, we went ahead and just got non-at cohesion to give him a little bit more damage. So based on the fact that we got both of those nodes, we don't really have a lot of movability on the board. Now I have looked at some of the other mutated cells and most of them don't seem to make that big of an impact to the build, so we just finished this off with some additional skill power. And then the last couple things we put on here was a little bit of MP recovery and a little bit more HP just to make sure Jax feels good out on the field. Now when it comes to the dog here, it really doesn't matter what you put on. I would go ahead and put the Hagios Sheepdog on just for a little bit of extra survivability because you're not going to net much out of the other dog as you don't really need those additional heavy rounds or any other ammo. So when it comes to the mods on Ajax, this is actually what we're going to use. We're going to focus on Void Explosion and we're really going to utilize his 3 to do a ton of damage. So as we're going to be focusing everything around his 3 and his 2, we want to be able to spam these abilities as much as possible, so we've put an absolute ton of cooldown into this build. Outside of that, we've done everything we can to ratchet the base damage up, and then we slapped on a little bit of spear and shield to help with a little bit of survivability as well as a little bit of skill power. And the last thing we did was we pushed his range as far out as we could get it. That way he feels a little bit better to use on the battlefield. Even with the range extension, his range does feel a little bit short, but it's not something that you can't manage if you play him well. Now I want to talk about two additional things, one of them being the trigger mod. I personally like Power Beyond on this build because I spend most of my time spamming my 3. But if you use your 2 a lot, you might get a little bit more benefit out of something like battering ram. The difference here I think is more about personal playstyle, but I know that I will be using my 3 way more than I'll be using my 2. So getting the additional damage on my 3 is much more important to me, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. And we're going to go ahead and slot in Power Beyond. The other thing I want to talk about here is maximize conservation. Feel free to swap this out with something like MP Collector if you don't have enough MP. Now typically I'll run something like maximize conservation if I have other people in teams with me and we're really sharing those kills. Now if you're playing by yourself, you can always consider swapping this out for something like MP Collector, which is going to guarantee you're going to have a ton of additional MP. At the end of the day, this mod is up to you, but either one of these is going to work well and allow you to spam skills, and that's realistically what you want to do with this build. Speaking of the build, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to play this build really quick, and it is actually a very simple build to play. For general mobbing, we're going to prioritize using our 2 as an opener, and then we're going to spam our 3 afterwards until everything is dead. So if we see another pack of enemies and they're a distance away, we'll go ahead and use our 2 to bridge that gap. But if they're relatively close, we're probably just going to spam our 3 and kill everything as we move around the battlefield. At the end of the day, just utilize the mixes of 2s and 3s to kill everything on the battlefield and move around efficiently. The only time this will change is when it comes to doing serious damage on big enemies. For that, you might consider utilizing both your 4 and your 1. Typically, I will just use my 1, but every once in a while, I'll toss a 4 out there as well. TLDR, when you find an enemy, put some type of barrier between you and them, switch over to your last dagger, aim for their head, and unload. If you notice that you're getting swarmed by enemies, go ahead and just pop off a 3 to kill everything that's rushing you, and then reload and go back to doing damage on the boss. Your last dagger will put in most of the work, but don't be afraid to use your skills if you want to. Your skills do an insane amount of damage, and you can get in and mix it up with skills as well. At the end of the day, this is really a personal preference thing, and all that matters is you take this boss out before it takes you out. Alright guys, and that's it. That's everything you need to know about playing Jax in the new Axion Plains, and realistically in any type of hard content. Jax was somebody that we built several months ago, and we haven't really utilized him very much, mainly because of his lack of range, and with other mobbers like Inez, Bunny Speed, and even Glay, it does make him sort of a lower tier mobber, but that does not mean that he is worthless on the plains, or he's somebody that you can't take out there and be efficient with. I do think Ajax is an absolute blast to play, and if you're looking for somebody different to mix it up with out on the plains, consider giving this build a try and let me know what you think down in the comments below if you do build it. Did you have a lot of fun with this build, or did you feel like you needed to change a couple things up? Definitely let us know, and we'll reevaluate the build if you guys found something better than what I know. And if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing for more First Descendant content, as well as other game coverage in the future. We do stream 5 days a week, and we would absolutely love to have you stop by either here on YouTube Live or over on Twitch. But having said all that, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.